Hi everyone, we are hoping that this video is going to give you one more reason to keep vegetables in your low carb or keto diet. And that reason has everything to do with how well your body will burn fat, lose weight. So we are going to tackle short chain fatty acids in this video. So you want to share with everybody what those are?
Sure. So short chain fatty acids, like the name suggests, are short chains of carbon, either 2 carbons, 3 carbons, or 4 carbons. And they are produced in your gut by the fermentation of undigestible carbohydrate. And the 3 short chain fatty acids that make up 95% of the short chains that are produced are acetate, propionate, and butyrate, C2, C3, C4. And what they are is they're kind of an energy harvest system for undigestible carbohydrate. Mm-hmm. And some species actually use this as a major source of energy. Lowland gorillas get up to 57% of their energy from undigestible carbohydrates, fiber.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting, though, isn't it? Because we think about these enormous animals, and they're vegetarians, and so how does that work, right? How do they get that much energy? Well, obviously they have a high capacity for turning these their bacteria in their guts will turn more of their undigested foods into these short chain fatty acids. Now humans have that ability as well. But we're obviously not deriving as much energy from those vegetables. But it does help us in many ways. One of the ways that we're going to zone in on here is how they help us to lose weight. And one of those is that they help us regulate our caloric intake.
Right. So there are actually a lot of studies on short chain fatty acids because the gut microbiome is so interesting and becoming very popular.
Yeah.
And we're finding out that it does so many things. So they found out that studies, and they utilized inulin for these studies, when inulin was supplemented at breakfast, it resulted in a lower caloric intake throughout the entire day. When inulin was supplemented at dinner, it actually decreased ghrelin at breakfast.
Right. So, and inulin is obviously not a vegetable. We'll talk about what vegetables have inulin in just a moment. But so it increased leptin and it decreased ghrelin. Those are our hunger hormones. And we think of I always call it we like leptin because it kind of turns off hunger, and we if your belly's growling, it's ghrelin. That means you're hungry. So we kind of keep them that way. But it had benefits on both sides of those. So that's obviously going to decrease the amount of calories that we eat throughout the day without us even thinking about it.
Right. The other thing it did is it increased energy expenditure. Now these studies were in rodents, so they're not always a real easy crossover. But they found out that short chain fatty acids increased oxygen consumption. It increased adaptive thermogenesis and fat oxidation, so that burning of your body fat. It also increased mitochondrial function, which probably went along with some of those other things with the O2, and the fat oxidation. Again, those are in rodents, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does point to how these short chain fatty acids are helping our fat metabolism, helping us get more energy from fat.
Right.
But those are rodent studies, but there have been quite a few human studies as well.
There's quite a few human studies, and this next one gets to the point we just made about leptin. So the earlier studies showed that it decreased ghrelin. This study showed that it protects against diet-induced obesity. So acetate and propionate, which are C2 and C3, actually increased leptin in your adipocytes, which are your fat cells. So that's your leptin-ghrelin connection there.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of research that shows that we want these short chain fatty acids to help us with weight loss. So how do you increase the amount of short chain fatty acids that those little bacteria in your gut are producing? Eating fibrous foods, specifically non-starchy vegetables. Now, really any non-starchy vegetable is going to help you and also allow you to stay on track with your low carb or keto diet. I should say that legumes and some of those higher carb foods will also provide this, but they're a little bit harder to work into a ketogenic diet. Of the vegetables, though, the ones that were high in inulin or fructooligosaccharides were the most beneficial for producing short-chain fatty acids. What are they? Those are your onions, garlic, artichokes, leeks, that family, asparagus, that family, they will contain both of them.
Right.
So those are good vegetables to keep into your diet as you're pursuing your low-carb keto diet. And what's interesting to me as we were researching this, and I was thinking about your weight loss, and if you're just new to our channel, Keith has lost 80 pounds on a ketogenic diet. We have that all on film, so we will link to it here. You can go back and binge watch those, get a lot of good content. But one of the things that we did religiously when you were losing weight is every week we would make a mound of onions and garlic, in butter. We put mushrooms in there. If we had some peppers from our garden, we'd go out and grab them and put them in there.
Really good.
It was great. I mean, the thing was so high, it was hard to, kind of stir.
It took down a little bit eventually, but yeah, it was good.
But we did that religiously when you were losing weight, and I thought, well, isn't that interesting?
Part of it's because that's what we had really in abundance in our garden. So we really kind of didn't know why, it worked.
It was one of those lucky type of things. It was, just an interesting thing that I thought that we probably did ourselves some really good, and I think we should probably get a little bit back to that.
Yeah. And I just had the thought about the lowland gorillas. So, see them eating bananas, right? But you know what? They eat green bananas.
Yes.
And they eat the entire banana, like peel and all.
And I think that makes it higher in the fructooligosaccharides.
Right, yeah. If you've ever tried a green banana and they're like eating a stick. But that's what they eat. Mm-hmm. And we've always heard that, well, just eat a lot of fruit, and vegetables because you can get big and muscular like a gorilla. Well, we're not gorillas.
Right. Well, so there's our takeaway. Yeah. You can either eat onions and garlic in large amounts, or you can in butter, or you can eat green bananas. How's that?
Yep, that sounds good.
All right. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful to you. Keep those veggies in your diet, and you
eat your veggies.
You'll be better off in the long run. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll be back soon with another video.
I'll see you.